All right, guys. Sorry about that for all the technical difficulties. I had to pretty much reboot everything. Sometimes technology does that, and that's one of the things that we have to deal with. When we're going live and doing the stream. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being patient. I do finally have my special guest today for this episode, Christiaan Verbeek, with at Pacifica Drum. So I'm gonna go ahead and transition over to our Zoom screen. So just help me welcome Mr. Christiaan Verbeek. Christiaan, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you for being patient and sorry about that with all the
No
Zoom
worries.
difficulties right here. But hey, that's the great thing about technology. We can always reboot and always get back to it. So thank you again for taking time with being with me today. So really quick, do me a huge favor, as I always tell my guests. Please tell the viewers viewing now, and also the millions that will be watching later. Who is Christiaan Verbeek, and what does Christiaan Verbeek do?
Well, all right. Hi, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm 26, and I own a small home-based wood carving company called Pacifica Drums, where we hand carve, we hand bend, we hand do everything. Everything has to do with Polynesian drums, Pacific instruments, and carvings and such. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we do everything we can to truly create this Pacific art form, but kind of put our own San Diego, our own SoCal, our own Indo twist on these things, but also to keep it very strictly Pacific.
That's awesome. So you do mention you're from San Diego, which is cool. However, where are your family roots? Where are they from? Are they originally from San Diego?
My mom's originally from San Diego. She has her roots going all the way back to like Italy and Europe, things like that. So she has that side. Dad, on the other hand, he's from the island of Bali in Indonesia, and so that's really where our Pacific connection comes in is with his roots.
That's awesome. So take me back a little bit, Christian. As far as you getting into, I guess this community, the industry that you're in now with making the drums and being involved with the Polynesian culture. Can you take us back? Like, when did that all start for you? Was it like in the last couple of years, or were you involved with it uh, as a kid?
I was involved with it as long as I could remember. Dad was like I said, he was born in Bali, and because we are of Dutch and Indonesian descent, there was a lot of things going on, so he had to flee his homeland. He had to go to back to the Netherlands and then back come here to the United States. So the one thing that carried with him was the tropics, the tropical upbringing, and that's where I got it. I was just from day one. I was born with you're not white, you're not Indonesian, you're Pacific Islander. When someone says what are you, you just say you're Pacific Islander, and that's it. Don't ask any questions. That's all and so anything Hawaii, anything tropical, he was always connected to, just because it was like his home. And so I grew up we went to Hawaii every year. We would go see the local groups here. And then there was one time where mom caught me wearing a lava lava and dancing around with a bamboo stick that dad was going to make something out of, and she's like, you want to start hula lessons? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I was probably like 7, maybe 6, 7. And so that's kind of where it started. And then the more I dived into it as a kid, the more I'm like, wow, it's the language is similar, the customs are similar, the people look the same. It's like, this kind of looks like people I could be related to. It sounds like the language that dad speaks sometimes. That's kind of weird. And then there you go. Before I knew it, I'm like, damn, we're all one people. And that's kind of how I started getting into the Pacific scene here in San Diego.
Oh, that's awesome. Again, you're watching HBTV, the show with your host, Harry Bugarin, and my special guest this beautiful morning, we have Christiaan Verbeek. So, You starting out as a kid out there in San Diego. As far as, do you remember like your first like show that you were involved in, and what were you doing then? Was it you're doing a hula? Were you doing something else with it?
Yeah, yeah. My first show, I was with a local group here, one of the biggest groups now,
Mm.
actually, Hali's, and that was my very first halau. We were just doing these little corporate shows, like corporate parties, things like that. And I remember being scared and of course, when you're one of the boys, you have to go out there because it's not like girls,
Yeah.
with groups, hundreds, but you only got 10 boys to a group, so even if you didn't know the dance, they're like, just go out there. And so I just remember doing, I think it was the Kavika hula, Kalakaua, and all those kind hulas. And instead of facing the front of the stage, I would be dancing facing the other boys, so I could watch at the same time, but try not to make it obvious that I didn't really know what I was doing. But that's my very, very first memory of actually performing. And then after that, it would be a weekly thing.
Right. So when you talk about weekly things, were you that group that you were involved in, or any other group? Did you guys start doing like weekly shows, like on a regular, and like where was that at?
Yeah, we would do weekly shows. I mean, just like any group, we'd have, our Saturday morning practices and all that. And then, at the time, they were big into like very like community shows. We would do, like I said, corporate parties. When I was younger, I did a lot of like hospice centers, hospital centers, for the elders and then their main show during the summer was a place called Campland by the Bay, where they had like this big stage set up, and they had all like the campers around the area. And that was like our summer gigs that we would do every, God, I don't remember. It was like every Friday or Saturday or something like that. And so those were the big ones. But yeah, usually just, every other weekend, every, couple times a month, it'd be like, small kind backyard things and
Yeah.
things like that.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I just want to dive in more into the music. Are you a musician by trade as well? Did you take like lessons or anything like that to help you out with music?
No, I didn't take lessons. But drumming has always been, part of me. My brother is actually like a hardcore rock drummer, so he
Oh,
was
nice.
yeah. So at one time he was like known as the best drummer in San Diego, and
Wow.
so that was a long time ago. But
Yeah.
I've always had drumming around, and I've always, I can't. My wife says I can't dance for like I can't move. I don't have rhythm, but I have rhythm in my hands.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I'm good with my hands, and I can so I picked up drumming really quick. And then like any other kid, you kind of get you get a little burned out at dancing sometimes. You
Mm.
get burned out at doing shows, and that's where I when I left the group and then I came back, and I'm like, I'll come back, but I want to be a drummer. Like
Yeah.
and then that's where I felt the most comfortable.
Mm.
I mean, it's always fun to dance and do shows and and see the reaction of the crowd and
Oh,
and
yeah.
things like that. But my true gift at the time, I think, was drumming, and
Mm.
that's where I was the most happiest. If you wanted me to commit to a show, you put me on the drums.
That's
Don't
awesome.
make me dance anymore.
So, I mean, like, what are some of your musical like influences as far as bands or peoples or even drummers that you grew up listening to?
From the youngest age, the my biggest, and I mean, I got a tattoo of them right here. It's the band Tevaka, which is that was my number one influence. They're the ones who did like the Moana soundtrack, the We Know the Way song, and that was all Opataya and his band. And I just remember, listening to them as a young age, and then, they would take the the Pacific instruments, the tueres, the bass drums, and they would just do what they called as a Pacific fusion, and they the beats they made, the way they orchestrated. I'm just like, this doesn't sound like Pahai and Paella and Takoto to me. I'm like, this is crazy, So that was the one thing that really got me. I'm like, there's something to this, and so that was one of the big struggles too, was my mind was there, but the poly scene here was somewhere else. They were, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to play like Tavaka. I wanted to drum like that, you know, but that wasn't traditional drumming. And so, you know, I would be like so frustrated at groups or practicing on my own going, you know, why can't we play like that? Why can't we do like that? So, yeah, I think Tavaka was the biggest influence musically wise. And then, you know, like, I'm an old soul, so I'd always, you know, I was massive Beach Boys, you know, oldies, doo-wop kind. So it was hot and cold with me for those ones.
No, that's awesome. Again, you're watching HBTV, the show, with your host Harry Bugarin and my special guest Christiaan Verbeek, and we're just talking about the journey of what where he's been, his experiences, and you know, all leading up to my bigger questions later of him being, you know, able to make and create these drums. So great. I mean, you have some great background with the music, especially with that group. I believe I've seen a couple of posts on your Facebook with that band, posting about that band, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you're saying you felt most happiest, most comfortable playing the drums, and you know, from your standpoint, can you tell us what that feeling is, and you know, what is that your inspiration? Do you still get that feeling, you know, every time you do?
Oh, sorry, I'm doing a phone interview right now. Sorry, we got neighbors coming to say hi.
Oh, no worries, no worries. What's up, neighbors?
Thank you. Enjoy your walk, man. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. That's all good. That's organic right there. But yeah, like you're telling me that you just told us that you felt most comfortable being behind that drum and playing that drum. Please describe to us, like, what is that feeling that you get when you're saying you're most happiest and you're most comfortable with the instrument, and especially the drum?
You know, it's that feeling that, like I said, you know, with dancing, it's fun to do. It's something I learned, you know, and it's something that you know, kind of expresses me and my culture and things like that. But with drumming, it's kind of like, that's my skill. You know what I mean? Like, it's that feeling like you know, when you get the job you've always wanted, you know, or it's that satisfaction feeling that it's like, this is what I was meant to do. This is what I was, you know, this is my way of what do you call it? Contributing, you know. And it's like, you know, everybody wants to be a rock star and a you know, you go behind the scenes and do tours and gigs, and I'm like, this is kind of my way of you know, kind of getting a little taste of that. You know, I don't think I'll ever be the biggest rock drummer in the world and, you know, playing out arenas and stuff, but hey, you know what, I'm on a stage right now getting paid to, you know, play an instrument that I created, play an instrument that is rooted from, you know, such a humble place and such a humble people, you know, and being able to showcase a skill that I taught myself to do, you know, and kind of please an audience like that. So it's a very, very satisfying feeling.
That's awesome. So, like, when did that idea of like creating drums, those toeres, those faquetes, and the pahu drums, like, when did that hit you and like say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and try this, you know, I want to create some drums of my own?
That happened a lot later, after we had parted with a couple groups here. You know, but during the time we were with groups, Dad was, you know, because I always put the dads in the back. Hey, dads, if you're watching your kids, just go back there and drum, you know, and in the groups we were in. And so, you know, we didn't have any drums. We really know where to buy them. We didn't know what to do. So Dad would, you know, we would make our own. We would go to the Indian store here, the Native American stores, and buy, like, you know, goat skins. They would sell like little skins and stuff. And he would legit pop out the bottom of a Home Depot gallon bucket or whatever those buckets, cover it in top of cloth, rope a skin up, and put some bamboo legs on it, and there you go, you had a drum. And so, but it wasn't until after we left the groups and I got this like this feeling like I wanted to start my own band. I wanted to do what Tevaka was doing, but over here, you know. And so it wasn't till then where I'm kind of like, you know, the tuetes coming out of Tahiti, they don't sound like the tuetes that they're playing, you know. And I had I had to get in contact with the band saying, where did you get your drums? How did you, what kind of wood is it? And things like that. And then, of course we can't find that over here. So me and Dad were like, well, why don't we just try and make them? And so that's what happened. We made them. We started with some small ones at first, and then we wasted a lot of wood because we didn't know what we were doing, and then finally, we picked up some wood, and I would listen to the record, and then I would tell Dad, okay, tune it a little bit more. Okay, wait. Okay, listen to the record again. Okay, you got to go a little higher. Okay, right there. Leave it. Don't do anything, and then sand it, finish it, and then that's kind of how we kind of started. And then after that, me struggling, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, and I don't want to go to school, and do I want to join the military? What do I want to do? And then I'm kind of like, hey, I think I can make these. No one else was doing it. I'm like, I think I could do it. So that's how we basically started.
You still have that first one that you ever made? Do you still have it like around, laying in your workshop or anything, or is that something you sold off?
No, that's the first real ones, like the first test ones we made, those are gone. We had a little area in our front yard. We called it the Tuetti graveyard. So if we would just throw it there and then wait for a trash guy to pick it up, and it was just, but my very, very first set, the ones that we actually created for me, to practice, I still have those. I haven't used them in a while. They're tucked like in the rafters right there, but I can still see them. They're still there, and I'm sure they still sound pretty good. So, yeah, we still have those. It's cool to see the difference now,
Yeah, and for sure, man. Just really quick, I want to tell the audience like how we connected and our history. For myself, and I've mentioned this in previous episodes. I had mentioned this with Terra Boy from Hitio Terra. Big shout out to them. My first actual, getting into seeing the culture of being a performer and entertainment was through our group, our family, which we call them, with Tahiti Mana out there in Oahu. So shout out to Tahiti Mana. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. But yeah, just being in there, and I knew nothing about the drumming. I knew nothing about the dances and things like that. I just happened to be there with my wife, who loves to dance. She's danced hula, Tahitian, and we had just moved to Hawaii and found this group. And since I was there, I was hanging out, with my kids and my wife and just watching practice. Mana Gutierrez was just, he's one of the lead instructors there, one of the owners there. He's like, hey man, since you're here, why don't you just come and drum? I was like, man, I don't know how to hit this thing, right? So he put me on the he put me on the faquete first. Didn't know anything what I was doing there. I didn't even touch the toere, and I found the bass drum, the pahu. So that was it for me, getting in there, just banging on that drum, just one rhythm. I didn't do any tricks or anything like that, because all that advanced stuff, man, just blows me away. And so moving back here a couple years after Hawaii, I was looking for stuff, for some drums as well. I know Tahiti was one of the main places for musicians, for groups, for people who had those connections to get those types of drums. And then I actually found you. So that was back in 2015, and I contacted you. And thank you, for taking my call and always answering my questions over the years. It's been 5 years, man, and this is the first time I get to see you live, face to face. It's on Zoom, but I've always wanted to make it down there. But yeah, it always amazes me for what people can do, that especially that I can't do, and I always respect, and I'm just like geeked out about it to say, hey man, this guy makes drums. So it's awesome. I will make it down to your workshop and hit some of your toys at some point, especially when COVID's done. But going back to creating these drums, right? So, I mean, if like are there any differences between your style of making versus like any other parts of the world that do create these type of drums out there?
As far as I know, I mean, I don't think so. I feel like the when you come out, the basic steps are all there. But I think, you know, just with everybody in their craft, you know, we all have our own tricks, you know, our own tips, our own, you know, ways of cutting something, you know, like the guys in Tahiti or, you know, a couple guys in Hawaii, they might shape their tuetis slightly different. They might, you know, hollow it out with a different pitch chainsaw than I do, you know, and things like that. And so, like, if you can see behind me, I got, you know, 5 whiteboards right here. That's all calculations. That's all numbers. That's all tricks, you know, saying, like, you know, I got one for bass drums and rims. You know, if you're doing a bass drum, make sure it's cut like that. Make sure use this drill bit and not that drill bit and things like that. So I think as far, you know, basic steps for everyone, I think are there. But as far as tricks and tips to keep it clean, keep the cuts nice, make sure it's tuned properly, I feel like we have everyone has their own.
So just take me through the process, you know, layman terms, you know, as easy as possible. Like, let's just say, you know, I'm in the San Diego area and I am driving by Julian, and I just so happen to have my chainsaw with me, and I, you know, maybe I'll cut down a tree or two and say,
Yeah.
hey, Chris, got this wood here for a tuete. Walk me through how we can get this done.
So to start off a tuetti, and what's funny is what I'll do is I'll swing the camera around. You can see I got a few lined up right here. These are all freshly lacquered, ready to. I got a couple more coats to go, ready to finish. But I mean, if you think of a tuetti at face value, it's just a hollowed out log. You're like, how hard could that be? You know, but you know, me and Dad learned really quick that nothing's easy here. So what we do is you start, you know, when you start with your rough log, and we have a YouTube video on our page, like a 15-minute how to make a tuetti video. But you know, you start with the rough log. You cut, you know, start with cutting a straight line on there, kind of get your bearings, you know, see where you're gonna get, you know, where the front of it's gonna be. After that, you can get a template, mark how round you want it, what size you want it, things like that. After that, you would just debark it, you know, hammer and chisel or chainsaw, whatever you want. Then we use an electric planer, kind of plane it all the way around, you know, make sure you're kind of as flush with your lines as you can get. After that, you cut it to size. And so, like for us, for example, we have a lot of standard sizes that we use that kind of mimic sizes from Tahiti. We also have some, like our medium tuettis, that's 24 inches tall. That's kind of like a size I came up with, kind of echoing like Cook Island styles. So after that, you cut it to size. After you cut it to size, you kind of have your rough log ready to start tuning. And so you mark out your center lines, you get the nose of your chainsaw and just start, you know, cleaning it out. And what's crazy is, I'll show you these ones here, is, you know, you got these cuts, you know, but this whole log, that's all hollowed out in there. And so your tuetti, your chainsaw has to, you know, hollow all that out, but keeping within this 1 inch slit, you know. And I've seen slits that are bigger from people. With a chainsaw, it's like driving a car and constantly changing lanes. So when you're cutting right here, not only do you have to see where you're cutting, but you got to look this side too to make sure your teeth aren't hitting that. And then when you're cutting this side, you got to make sure, you know, you're going this way, make sure your cut's good that way, but make sure you're not hitting this side. So, let's do this. And then, so after you kind of do that, you start tuning it with the chainsaw. And then after that is just sanding, getting them level, making sure they're straight on both ends so they don't wobble. And then start carving them, staining and sanding, glossing, sorry.
Awesome, man. Again, you're watching HBTV, the show with your host, Harry Bugarin, and my special guest, Christiaan Verbeek, breaking down just how he does and makes his tuetes, so which is very cool. So speaking of your tuetes and your drums and all that stuff, tell me about some of the projects you've been involved with. Any clients that are, you know, notable that your drums have been featured in?
Yeah, we do actually. So I think it really started in February of 2018. I got this Facebook message. I'll try and keep it really short. Facebook message asking for just some of the weirdest drums. I'm like, what is this lady asking for? So we go over these things, and she's like, oh, can I continue this message over email? I said, yeah, that's fine. And so she signs off her email, so and so, Hong Kong Disneyland. I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm me and my wife and my buddy, we're big Disney freaks, you know. And so I'm like, so that was one of our first things that kind of got us going. Hong Kong Disneyland. I want to say they have a Moana show, like a Moana stage show that they do. So if anybody ever goes there, those are our drums they're using. And then actually rewind. We got in touch with a Hollywood music producer and a composer. He goes by the stage name of Junkie XL. His name is Tom, and he did the score for Deadpool. He did the score for Mad Max Fury Road, and I get this email saying, "Hi, my name is Tom. I'm a music producer, and we're doing a new Tomb Raider movie." And so the Lara Croft Tomb Raider, they were going to reboot the movies, I guess. And he's like, it takes place on a Pacific island, and I want to use that in my score. And he's from Holland too. He's from Amsterdam. And he's like, I saw you had a Dutch. He's like, I saw you have a Dutch name, so he's like, I wanted to go with you. So yeah, we did Tomb Raider, the movie Tomb Raider 2018, and then Hong Kong Disneyland 2017. Sorry, then 2018 was Hong Kong Disneyland. Shortly after that, we made that big 5-foot bass drum. So the same guy, Tom, he came back and said, what's the biggest drum you can make? Because we're going to be doing King Kong. So when next, I think it's 2021, it's going to come out. It's Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, that's
awesome.
So
yeah, and so whenever you hear King Kong like running out and you hear the drums playing, that's that big 5-foot drum. I think that was our biggest accomplishment was that one. And then just last year was Disneyland Anaheim. Nice. And so the same art producer or art director who did the Hong Kong show, he's based in the Anaheim offices, and he's like, hey, we might be having a new parade and there might be a Moana float. Are you interested? And I'm like, yeah, nice. So whenever Disney opens up and you guys go and see the Magic Happens parade, they'll have a whole cage of drums just on its own, and then those are ours as well. So
that's awesome, man. Congratulations. And here's a connection for you regarding the Hong Kong show. Big shout out to my friend. He's a brother of mine, family, Ed Referzo. His wife actually is Moana at that Hong Kong show. So he,
cool.
She hears it all the time. I just found out about that. I'm actually trying to book her and him as well to be on the show as well, to talk a little bit about their experiences and their journey, especially being out there in Hong Kong Disney. So that's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I did see that drum. I have the I'll make sure I put the link to your website with that 5-foot drum. That's really cool. So tell us more, like where if people are interested, want to get your products, where can they go?
You could go to our main website. It's pacificadrums.com, the same way as how it's spelled in the titles and everything here. And that's kind of has like all of our standard pictures. You'll see like our stock images, things like that. If you follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, you can see what we're currently working on. And if you want to get a hold of me, all of our contact is on there. What we do is usually right now, we have some drums in stock for pickup, but a lot of it is custom tailored to what you want. So we have about 50 designs for pahus and bass drums and fa'atetes that you could pick from. You can send us your own. If you want, the standard size tuetis, you could pick up one of those. Or if you want a size of your own, we do custom tuning, custom carvings, custom logos, decals. We can do any of that stuff. So
that's awesome, man. So yeah, love. I'll get that out, and people out there, if you guys are interested with drumming, getting your drums, hit up my man Christiaan Verbeek right here live on Hbtv on the show. I've been pronouncing your company wrong. It's say it one more time.
Hbtv.
Hbtv. Okay. 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 Hb
So either way is fine. Just the way we always pronounce it was Pacifica, and
Pacifica.
it
Nice.
would just mean,
Nice.
yeah, it's the same thing. Just means Pacific, you know. And that was, I actually got it from one of the Tavaka songs, you know. I heard the
Sweet.
word Pacifica, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. And then I'm like, what does it mean? I'm like, oh, Pacific, duh, you know. And so that's where I'm kind of, and we, you know, so that's
So
where that one came
just a
from.
couple more questions before I let you go, Christian. As far as you said Tavika, that's the name of the group, right?
Tevaka.
Tevaka. I'm sorry, Tevaka. And you've been involved with them since you've got contact with them. Like what's been going on with you guys as far as that band?
Yeah, so it was. I mean, they're a great group of people. They were based out of New Zealand. Now they're based out of Australia. I mean, they're like that was my rock stars for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I was, like I said, when I was younger, you know, while we were starting this drum business, you know, another thing was like, you know, if I can make a set like them and I could practice their songs, maybe I can join them, you know, and that was always my dream. And if they ever watch this, I think they know how badly I wanted to tour with them and be in that band. And, you know, I messaged the manager one day and I told her, I said, you know, I think I was like 15, 16. I'm like, this is, you know, I'm this age and this is what I can do. And you know, they were coming to tour the States. And so, unfortunately I didn't make the tours, but, you know, we got to see them live and they let me on stage. We did, 2 songs. I did the last 2 songs with them at the Thousand Oaks in Thousand Oaks. That was the first show, and then back in 2016, they came back and they let me do Cerritos Center. So I was just a 1 song at the end, but back in, we actually gifted them with a custom carved Tuetti, and then
Mm.
on their not the latest album, but the album before that, Tavaka Beats Volume 1. If anybody has that, that's our Tuetti on the cover. So
Oh, that's
that was another
awesome,
cool.
man. Oh man,
Yeah.
that I mean that's big time to be able to be on stage with your childhood, band.
Yeah.
That's really something right there. So
Yeah.
just one last question before I let you go, Christian. As far
Mm-hmm.
as um, what message would you give somebody, wanting to do what you do as far as creating drums, carving them out,
Um,
making their own? Like, what would you tell a young person, him or her, getting into the game?
you know, honestly, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but I would just say good luck. You know, it's like good. I hope that it comes easier to you than it did to me. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I'm a very 4/4 time rhythm person. You know what I mean? And so it's hard for me to think, you know, outside of the box and outside how to, you know, like I said, how to get a certain cut, how to get a carving to look a certain way. So you know, what I would tell somebody just starting is, you know, it's not easy. It's that's, like I said, that's one thing, you know, me and dad learned the hard way. It's like, God, nothing is easy with this. And you know, we've learned that if you do find that there is a easy, you know, you think there is an easy way to do it, don't take that way, because it's not gonna work. You know, these drums, you know, I mean, you see, like, you know, you got like these rings, you know, all it is a circle. That's all it is. But it's like, how hard is it to make a circle, you know? And it's a lot of math. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of money. I mean, wood, well, you'll find out really easy that wood is like gold, man, when it comes to, you know, like our Tuetti sticks, the wood we use. I got 2 8-foot sticks, $700 out the door. That's how
Wow.
much that wood costs, you know. And so you know, it's if you could see how many gray hairs I have, you know, from this. But it's at the end of the day, you know, to see the finished thing, it's like when you have a black car and you wash it and you finally get to see, you know, because, you know, you see how beautiful it comes out. It's kind of like, wow, it was really worth it. You get to hear the sound, you know. But, you know, there's other days where it's not, you don't have a good day, you know, and you just kind of have to scrap it and start over. So yeah.
Right.
My advice would be go in humbly. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I'm actually getting this live call on my phone right now, and it won't. I'm just trying to wait for the
That
person to
sounds
hang
good.
up or whatever. But if you can hear my phone right there, hold on. Yeah, next show I gotta unplug my phone for the people. But Christian, I do appreciate your time. Great to have you on the show today. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. Sorry about my phone, people. Christian, uh, thank you. Much love and success. I will, put all the descriptions, all the links, so people can get at you. I mean, with HBTV, with this whole platform, like I said, it's I'm just trying to broadcast positive vibes and energy in people one episode at a time, and trying to make a whole world
Yeah.
community with this. And I mean, are you okay with people reaching out to you? Maybe they would love to pick your brain and find out more things about things. And if that's cool, I appreciate that, and being part of this HBTV community, and just what we're doing here, and getting your message out and getting the message out to the world, man. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
thanks
I'd love
again,
that.
man. I'd love to do like maybe a recap with you later down the line, and in other shows and stuff like that, and just highlight more of your projects, more of the things that you're doing and going to be doing in the near future. So thank you very much.
Sounds good.
Blessings, brother. Please tell your family thank you for allowing you to be on with us for about an hour or so, and all that good stuff. So thank you very much, and good luck with everything, and stay safe out there as well.
Thank you, man. You too. I appreciate you having us on. It means a lot to us.
Thank you. All right, Christian. You guys have a
All right, man.
blessed weekend. See you
Thank
later.
you too, man. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
So thank you guys again. I do apologize about the technical difficulties in the beginning, but we'll be learning as I go along, as I keep on doing these live streams. And thank you for sticking with us and viewing. Thank you for your time, your eyes, and your ears. I think I'm just gonna scratch that first one that I was going on before all the technical difficulties, but I wanted to share with you really quick. This was recommended from a previous guest, Jacob Mentz. And we were just talking, and I was just picking his brain about what he does as far as like living active, healthy lifestyles, and that's a big thing that I'm trying to do for myself right now. And if you or anybody else are interested in making a tweak or a change in what you do, he did recommend this to me. This guy right here. It's a pretty big book, but I can't wait to get into it. It's How Not to Die. Discover the food scientifically proven to prevent and reverse disease. So, something I want to get into. I want to get into that information that's in this book, and also you can also get the cookbook under the same title, under that Dr. Michael Greger, MD. These are just other health options, healthier options for you to look at, to cook. A lot of people are preparing their foods now from home. People are going more greener and more leaner. This is a vegan option right here. I'm not saying go all vegan, be a vegetarian or whatever. I know a lot of people love their meats and stuff like that. So, but this is, like I said, this is just another option for you. If you are interested, or any friends or family are interested, again, just wanted to share this with you. How Not to Die cookbook, and again that book right there that I showed you. You can get it on Amazon or whatever bookstore. So again, that pretty much concludes another episode here of the show on HBTV. Again, thank you for your time. We do have another episode tomorrow. I'm gonna make sure this time that my computer is gonna be all good. I'll probably just like reset and reboot before the episode, but we have our special guest tomorrow, Nino Lunaria. He's with ABS-CBN, and we're going to talk about what he does, his journey and experiences to get him where he's at today. So that should be, and that will be, a great episode. So tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m., same time on Sundays usually. This one was a special one because this is the time I can catch Christian, and I'm always down to be flexible and catch my guests whenever I can on their schedule. So you guys, please continue to be safe and have a blessed and happy weekend with your friends and family. Until tomorrow, until next episode, I'll see you guys. Take care.